getting all set up here. I think we're going to be doing a petty revenge today. I'm torn between petty revenge or like off my chest, but some of these petty revenge ones look really good. So I think we're going to do that. Also, I do have a filter on my face via TikTok because I worked out and then washed my face, and I think I washed it a little too hard because my cheeks are like super red and super sensitive right now. They actually almost hurt. They kind of burned when I put my moisturizer on. So I did not do makeup today on my actual face. I'm just using a filter just because my face is so red right now that I feel like a little like trash. So filter's on, not hiding that. But we are going to get ready to start the intro. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Phoenix Reads. Today's episode is going to be a series of petty revenge stories. And as usual, the usernames for the users whose stories we'll reading... Oh my gosh. Fucking tongue-tied. That was trash. We're going to try that again. Okay. Just got to get back into it. Hold on, give me a drink. Maybe that'll help. Trying to make sure I hold it right. I'm gonna take this damn pen off. There. Okay. Easier to hold the iPad that way. 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone! Welcome to another episode of Phoenix Reads. Today's episode is a series of petty revenge stories. And as usual, the usernames of the users whose stories we're reading will be in the description below. Please go give their story and any others they may have some love. And feel free to leave a comment on their post and even tag me in the comment letting them know that you heard their story here. My username for Reddit is in the description. You can even tag me in the stories you'd like to hear me read. We'll get started right after this ad. Bam. So, give me 1 second. Let me set this up. Oh, what do I want to use for petty revenge sounds? I'm down with that. Lord Weasel. That's a great name for a background sound, by the way. Insert ad. I don't have as many petty revenge stories, so like I think it said like 18 in this album. Yeah, I have 18 in here, so we may end up transferring over into some of the other ones I have, like the off my chest ones, but we will see what happens. Hi, welcome to the next episode that I'm doing. Actually, second day in a row. Amazing, I know. So I don't have as many petty revenge stories in my album that I would like to have. I only have like 18. I doubt we'll get through all 18 today because I mean, like, yesterday we did the Am I the Asshole ones and I think we only got through like 7. So we will see what happens today. But if we do just kind of, I'm going to adjust the mic here 1 second. If we do end up actually using up telling all the stories and we still have plenty of time left, I will hop over to like a off my chest story that I have. I have some of those saved as well. But anyway, so we're just going to get started with the first one. As usual, we read the title, we make an opinion, and then we continue on and see what happens. Okay. Roommate stole my washcloths, so I decided to let her steal one more. Devil emoji. Okay. I'm very intrigued. As we all know here, if you are a viewer or a listener from season 1, you know damn well we love pettiness on this channel. We match energies, and you know what? If you want to take it a step further and be even more pettier than the person before you, darling, we are right there with you. Bitch, please. My freshman year, I had the most inconsiderate roommate who'd stay up all night, talking loudly, eat my food, etc. We've been there. Hate that. Oddly, my washcloths that I used to wash my face would go missing. Like, I think I lost like 3 or 4 throughout the semester. Okay, to be fair, when you're a broke-ass college student, even like, it could even be back in like, 10 years ago when washcloths were like 50 cents a piece. 50 cents a piece can mean a lot. Like, that can mean like 2-3 packets of ramen for your dinner, lunch, breakfast, if you're a broke-ass college student. So I wanna make sure we all remember they're in college and the broke-ass college life is real. I thought someone was taking them, but I had no idea where to look. I think they mean where to look, because it just goes, had no idea where to. Well, the end of the semester, we were clearing out the bathroom cabinets to move out, and what did I find shoved in the far back corner of the cabinet? My washcloths, which were covered in orange foundation. So, obviously, Donald Trump was using your washcloths. Sorry. Clearly evidence from my one rude roommate, because she wore so much foundation every single day. I was super annoyed because I had to keep buying more washcloths to replace the ones that she stole. Well, I decided to use one of my other washcloths and clean the disgusting bathtub with it. I'm talking ring of shampoo, dirt, hair, etc. I was planning to just throw it away afterwards, but I decided to hang it up and let it dry in the same place I would hang my washcloths for my face. The next day, the washcloth I had used for the bathtub was covered in orange foundation. The look on her face when I told her, no regrets. I love it. Like, it's not like, is it the most pettiest thing in the world? Of course not. But it makes you feel a little bit better. It makes us feel a little bit better. And honestly, it's a pretty funny story because, like, what is she gonna do? Like, go and complain? Like, my roommate used her washcloth to clean the bathtub, and then I used it on my face. And it's like, well, why were you using her shit to begin with? Like, who is going to be on her side to tell that? For her to tell that story, unless she twists it. But it's like, even then, so, like, if they're gonna be on her story, or on her side for that story, you probably don't want to be messing with them to begin with. So, I love it. I love the pettiness in that. It was, perfect. Okay, this one I think is we actually have 2 slides for this. It's actually a longer one. Toxic manager wants me to keep doing his homework, so I check his literacy level. Why does this sound like an episode of like some TV show that we have all seen in some way, shape, or form? I love it. Let's carry on and see what happens next. During my last year in college, I got hired onto the production crew of a small manufacturing company. The production team leader, purely by virtue of seniority, was a guy I'll codename Dirk. Sorry, I don't know why, but like the name Dirk is just funny to me. Sorry for any Dirks that are listening or watching. Prison physique, 6'4". So does that mean like he's like super buff? As my son would call him, a Giga Chad. I think that's the proper terminology. I may be wrong. I don't know. All I know is that he uses the word Giga Chad for really buff guys like John Cena, which is his favorite wrestler, but slowly coming up behind Cody Rhodes. When standing upright, face tattoo. Okay, so we're thinking like buff Dominic Mysterio? No, I'm joking. I got into wrestling during my hiatus, and I'm sorry if I make wrestling, like, jokes that nobody else understands. Regularly physically intimidated other folks in the building for sport. Oh my god, I hate dudes like that. They're so fucking, like, I have worked at, like, a Menards, which, sidetrack, of course. For those who don't know what a Menards is, it's kind of like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, but it's kind of like the Walmart of Lowe's and Home Depot. They talk about having, like, the best prices for stuff. I worked in the hardware department. So, obviously, I worked with a lot of dudes. And some of you, I think I've gone over this story before, maybe. If not, hey, first time. I had a dick for a manager. Like, literally, he would come in on his days off just to make sure that we were all doing what we were supposed to be doing. Like, then what is the fucking point of us having a first assistant manager, a second assistant manager. Like, what is the point of their job if you're going to come in on your day off to make sure that we're doing? And like, he would hide around like aisles and like peek down them to make sure that we're like doing the right things. He had a whole fit because our first assistant manager, that was our second one that we had gone through within his reign in the year that I worked there. He was standing there helping a customer. Well, sorry, they're called guests. He was helping a guest, and his phone was going off in his pocket. So, like, you could probably hear the vibration. So he just reached down, pulls it out, hits the side button, puts it down, never losing eye contact with the guest. After everything was said and done, our manager came up to him, and he was like, that was really inappropriate. And it's like, what the fuck was inappropriate? Like, how is that inappropriate? Like, he didn't lose contact. Like, the guest didn't even notice. It was the craziest fucking thing. And he would make comments like that all the time. Like, how inappropriate something like that was. And it's like, bitch, how? And I got asked multiple times if he was on the side because he had his tongue pierced. He still had frosted tips. This was in, like, 2000. Oh, my gosh. Don't ask me to do math right now. It was, like, 2011. Well, no. When did I work there? Like, 2014. No, 2013. So this was 2013. And yeah, he came in. He was really tall too. Like, all of my managers that I had at that store were abnormally tall. Like, I am 5'3". Okay? For comparison, I am 5'3". Some of my managers were like 6'6", 6'5". And I'm sitting here going, I feel like a tiny woodland creature and I'm almost scared. Given I have a brother who is like a whole foot taller than me. But at the time I was just like, why is everyone so tall that works here? Like, is that a requirement? Did I miss that? Did I somehow slide under the radar? Anyway. Oh, okay. Imitated other folks in our building for sport. Told stories with strong, intentional bigot vibes. He sounds like a fucking catch. Oh, high school dropout, chain wallet. Oh my god, chain wallets. Who remembers chain wallets? Different Monster energy drink hat for each day of the week. Oh my god. I think we all know somebody like this. Like, deadass. We all know somebody like Dirk. And they might even be named Dirk. Or Kyle. I don't know. Isn't that the thing? Kyle with the monster and the hole punching? I don't know. I'm not always up on my memes, so I apologize. Dirk's favorite joke was calling me a schoolboy because I was going to college. Get it? Followed by assertions that education is a scam and smart people are actually dumb and only pick your prerogative, go to college, and so on. Okay. The other 8 employees in the building really wanted Dirk gone. The owner / boss / inventor of the property manufacturing process was a brilliant mechanical engineer, but terrible with people. To be fair, I think we all know somebody like that. Like, they're super smart, they're fantastic in their job, but their people skills are a little... They could use some twerking. It happens. I mean, I think we all have people like that, but those are still some of, like, the greatest people to work with. I think, anyway. Oh, and very susceptible to Dirk's intimidation techniques, so Dirk stayed. Oh, that sucks. I hate that. I hate guys that deserve to be fired like that, but they're so good at intimidating the boss that it's just kind of like swept under the rug. Like, that sucks. Anyhow, within the first month, Dirk decided it was my job to take material and product inventory every 2 weeks. Whatever, he's the middle manager, he can delegate. Usually a 3-person job. I was, of course, made to do it alone. Usually kept me at work well after midnight, but at least I was getting paid overtime and the building was empty and quiet. Yo, that is very, very true. I used to do overnight work. I used to do security, and I used to do an overnight job at a hospital. It was fantastic because the floor that I was to keep secure and to watch was being remodeled. So there was nobody, there was no patients, there was no nurses, there was nothing. It was just me. And just every once an hour I had to get up, walk down one hall, come back to where my desk was, and then walk down the hall behind me. It was like a big T. It was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's still a hospital, so it's like a little like spooky because like not all the lights are on. And, you know, I mean, it's a fucking hospital. in the middle of the night. So it's still like a little spooky. Like it still kind of gives you the little heebie-jeebies about it. But it was so wonderful. Like I could sit there and I could read, I could play on my phone, I could sing, I could dance, I could do whatever the fuck I wanted because nobody could see me. It was fantastic. And I was getting paid for it. So it was pretty cool. It only lasted for like a few months because eventually, you know, the thing actually got finished and then I had to go to other places. But it wasn't that bad. That was fantastic. Like working, like getting paid to do something when there's nobody else around, like when you do something that usually involves other people is, oh my gosh, it is amazing. Sorry. After 6 months on the production team, I graduated from college and got promoted out of the warehouse and into product design office. A great gig, the one I wanted from the beginning. Near the end of my 3rd day in the office, Dirk poked his head in the door and asserted that I was still expected to take inventory that night. I reminded him that I don't work in the warehouse anymore. He reminded me that he's a dangerous person by mad dogging into my personal space bubble and cursing a lot. I capulated. Believing, perhaps around... why do people use big words? People like me are stupid. Erroneously, that my new office coworkers would have my back if Dirk went berserk, I decided to take inventory in Roman numerals, which Dirk couldn't read. Really show him what a guy with basic 11th grade literacy is capable of. I wasn't present for the incident, but when I arrived at work the next morning, the warehouse was trashed. Dirk had seen the inventory clipboard, gone ballistic, and started pulling everything off the shelves. The police were called. As I understood it, Dirk left peacefully with the cops and wasn't arrested, but was immediately fired and legally barred from approaching the building or any of its employees. Oh. After Dirk's departure, we promoted a new production lead. The machines ran faster and more efficiently, and all product came out cleaner, and all the supply problems, quote unquote, we were having with raw materials were actually just Dirk being equal parts lazy and stupid. So, oops, sorry, try not to put it down so hard, but I almost lost my grip. I love petty revenge like this. Like, you still did the job. Like, nothing happened. Like, nothing was hurt in the process. Just his ego. And those are fantastic petty revenges. Like, when nobody gets hurt. Like, what's he gonna do? Who is he going to cry about that is gonna be like, you can't read Roman numerals, my dude? Like, why is it that hard? Like, use your phone. Google it. Like, it wouldn't have been that hard. Like, what is in Roman numerals? Like, that would have been so easy. But, like, because he wanted to be lazy and not do the extra step, he threw a whole fit, and that is just fantastic. All right. After 2 years, the petty revenge. That doesn't really give me much to go on for the title, so we're just going to keep going. I have worked my job for several years, and as any job, there are good employees and bad employees. I think we all know that. We all, like, all of us good employees, we know this, like, just in our bones. We know this, like, to our core, we know that there are just some people that just suck ass to work with. Sorry, I'm looking right at you guys as I'm trying to fix my hair. When I started, there was one female that had been on the job for about 10 years. I will call her Jay. Not because I don't want to call her out, but because I don't want to spell her 4-syllable, 18-character name every time. Okay, now I really wish that they would do it just one time so I knew, like, what this name was, because I'm very interested. This sounds like, I'm gonna say it, this sounds like some white person name that has to take, like, the basic-ass name and turn it into something 18 letters long. And really, it's just, like, Sally. No offense to Sally. That was the first name that popped into my head that was, like, really basic for a girl. Because it's, like, what is it with people naming anybody? Just anybody. Naming their kids these long names that make no sense. And it's like, why are there dashes and dots and a hyphen in this name? I know hyphens and dashes are usually the same thing. Just, my brain works weird. And it's like, why is this like this? And it's really just Paul. Why? Okay, anyway. Jay was lazy. She would disappear for hours, not answer the radio when called, be on her phone when she was supposed to be working. Okay, to be fair, I've definitely been on my phone when I was supposed to be working at work, but I think we all have at some point. It's just been like, I don't want to be here today. Today sucks ass. I have mentally checked out. Take 20-minute bathroom breaks while we were swamped with work. Okay, I would take 20-minute bathroom breaks, but not when we were swamped. Like, when there was, like, nothing to do and the day was not going by fast. Sorry. Claimed she was studying for school on her lunch break, only for someone to wake her up after she missed her clock back in time by a half an hour. No books in sight. But Jay had one habit that was infuriating to coworkers and administration alike. She was always late for work. Sorry, I have a hair on my iPad, and it was driving me bonkers. Okay, this is exactly where I was going with this. At my job, you cannot leave until the person working next shows up. If Jay was 10 minutes late, it was a miracle. Once she was 3.5 hours late to relieve me. The on-duty supervisor had to call someone to go knock on her door to wake her up. All I got were dirty looks from her when she finally got to work. So, again, when I worked security, I worked at a downtown building here in Iowa, and it was the same thing. Like, I could not leave until the person that was showing up after me showed up. Well, it got to the point where, I think I'm going to sneeze. I apologize if I do. It got to the point where she would show up like 10, 15 minutes late. And I'm just like, listen, like, it's 11 o'clock at night. I want to fucking go home. I have kids at home. I'm tired. They've had me up since 6, 7 o'clock at night, in the morning. Like, and I don't get home until like 11:30, almost midnight. And when I finally fall asleep, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm fucking tired. I want to go home. And she started blaming it on, like, oh, well, there's a train. And I'm like, bitch, if you go the same way every day and there seems to be a train every single fucking day, maybe you should leave, like, 10 minutes earlier. Like, crazy. Oh, my gosh, you get here 10 minutes early? That's fine. I will stay until 11 o'clock, and then you can clock in at 11 o'clock, and I can clock out at 11 o'clock like I should. Regardless, that was a crazy-ass job to begin with, mostly because it was downtown, like, blocks away from, like, our bar district here in Iowa, so that wasn't, like, the only problem. One time, she kept showing up late and another coworker complained to her face. She purposely parked her car across the street and kept coming in later and later as the problem escalated. The other coworker was put on an earlier shift just to end the problem. That sucks. The worst time was when she disappeared for 2 months. My supervisor called her after 3 days of no-show and left a message. 2 days later, Jay had her mother call and say she was not ready to come back to work after a cousin died in Florida. Checking her Facebook account proved that Jay considered mourning to be drinking at back bars every night. Okay. I don't understand what that means. Maybe somebody does. When Jay came back, she still had a job. We figured Jay was sleeping with one of the higher-ups, but we didn't have proof. That drives me fucking bonkers. People that can do shit like that and then still have a fucking job. Alright, I'm breathing. Okay, carrying on. Finally, we got a new district manager that was a hard ass and made sure many of the rules that had been ignored. I think something was left out on that. The job has mandatory testing given every so often to make sure we are compliant with state and federal regulation. Jay bombed out and was fired. Not a tear was shed on her last day. It says year, but I'm pretty sure it means tear. Yesterday, I received a call on the office phone. It was someone wanting to talk to a former coworker that had quit due to health reasons. I asked why and found out that it was someone doing a background check on Jay. I was about to say that the employee wasn't working here anymore when the person on the other end said that they were with a certain government agency. Think 3-letter agency. CPS. I think. I can't think of any other 3-letter agency. And the former employee was a reference. I put the person on a brief hold, took a swig of water, and answered as the former employee. Then I proceeded to tell all about Jay and her work habits, not embellishing anything, but also not leaving leaving out any minor detail. When I was finished, the person thanked me and hung up. This was about 7 months ago. Today, I found out from a coworker that was on Facebook and saw Jay complaining that she didn't get the government job she applied for. Petty revenge completed. I mean, listen. I think we have all been in that position where we have made some stupid ass mistakes while being at work. And then, we finally have an opening for a job that we really like. And that kind of fucks us over. But at the same time, if we decided to fuck around, we're going to find out eventually in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, definitely petty revenge. I mean, it kind of, again, I think some of the best petty revenge is stuff that doesn't really hurt anybody. But at the same time, I definitely feel like this person had this whole situation coming to them. Because I'm just saying, I think she would end up being one of those terrible CPS workers that work way too hard to get kids taken out of a home that they don't need to be taken out of, and not give a single flying fuck about kids that actually need to be taken out of a home that they need to be no longer in. So, I mean, it fucking sucks, but you fuck around, you find out. It's basically what's going to happen to all of us. All of us. Karma is going to get all of us in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. But it's going to happen. We just have to accept it when it does. And 9 times out of 10, that kind of makes it better. Can't have your cake and eat it too. Creep. Oh, I love petty revenge that has to do with creeps. Oh, I don't know why. It's just so much more satisfying when someone's like a super mega creep and they get what's coming to them. This is the story of how one man decided he'd try to get a cake and a girl and wound up losing both due to poor decisions. I have no idea what to expect with this, and I am both excited and slightly nervous. Also, I almost didn't pay attention to this. This does say not safe for work, so if you are listening or watching this without your headphones, you might want to not. I don't know. I am very blunt, and I will not. The only words I should say that I will not say on this podcast are anything racial. I will bleep those. Because I'm not that kind of person that can say those. I'm not of that color. Like, unless it's a racial slur towards a white person, I'm not saying it. Like, if it's a cracker, I'll say cracker. I don't give a shit about that. But if it's anything derogatory towards a person of color or, like, anybody of any shade of color, I'm not going to say it because I don't have the shade of skin to say that. Or I think even if I did, I don't think I would, just because it's not my place. Anyway, so yes. This says not safe for work. If you are listening without headphones, I suggest you put some on. Or maybe just skip this story. Context. I work managing a small bakery. M is very talented. Absolute sweetheart of a baker. And recently, we had to change our order policy in order to prevent her from overworking herself. So, we need orders 14 days prior with payment in full 7 days before pickup. Every customer is sent this agreement and we will only take it on after they agree. However, for chefs and caterers, we usually give a little leeway. Clients who can afford to hire a private chef usually don't have an issue with express fees as long as they get what they paid for, but that's as a courtesy. Tuesday, I received a text from a Chef R from Exclusive Hotel, no last name, asking for a custom cake for 2 Saturdays away. Okay, no problem. I take down details over the week since M is off until Friday. Friday, give details to M and I write up the order, putting the order under Chef R at Exclusive Hotel. Saturday, send invoice to Chef R to collect online. Monday, check my invoices and notice that I haven't gotten anything from him. So I make note to remind him later. However, M comes in and tells me that she, 1, hasn't started on it yet because of lack of payment. 2, she doesn't want to do it, but if she does, then she definitely does not want Chef R to know that she's in the bakery when he comes to pick it up, and doesn't want to meet him under any circumstances. Immediately, the red flags and sirens and alarm bells go off. M is super friendly and takes a ton of well-deserved pride in her work, so this was way out of character for her. Little by little, she manages to tell me that once she saw the name on the invoice, she had a feeling that it was a former colleague of hers who had expressed interest in her in the past. Upon further investigation, she realized that she was right. Being the professional that she is, she figured that she didn't want her personal life to interfere with her work life, so she was just going to keep it to herself, do the cake, and be done with it, right? But then, our little buddy boy here, little Mr. Chef Exclusive Hotel, couldn't help himself. You see, when he woke up Monday morning, he decided that for some reason it would be a fantastic waste of his time, to go on to M's social media and leave sexual comments on a benign post of hers. She had recently adopted a pet and had finally started sleeping with her. That was it. Okay, anybody that has been in a situation like this, we all know. You could take a picture of you covered, like, head to toe, and somebody, somewhere, is gonna make it sexual. It's the internet. You could be wearing, like, a baggy-ass t-shirt, and basketball shorts, and just, that's it. You could be wearing the baggiest clothes ever. No figure could be shown. The only thing you see is from the elbows down or the knees down, and somebody somewhere is going to make it sexual. And it's going to be really uncomfortable, and it's going to suck ass. And it's going to make you feel like trash sometimes. Because they get really weird and cringy. Okay, that was it. That was the whole post. He somehow thought, as a married man, no less, that it would be a great idea to reply with, "Can I get in your bed and purr too?" I need a moment, because that was cringy as fuck, and I think I might throw up. I need water. This motherfucker needs water. He obviously thirsty as fuck. Sorry. Never mind the fact that M is also married and has turned down his advances years ago and for years since. And just to make it worse, he fucking knew what he was doing. They always do. They will lie to you. Lie to your face and be like, "Oh, I didn't know what I was doing." Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. They know what they're doing, and they just think, like, if they just play it off, it's like, "Oh, it was just a joke," or "You're taking it too seriously. I didn't mean it like that." You're a fucking liar, and we know that you're a fucking liar. Sorry. I may know a little bit too much about this kind of situation. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust the camera here. Oh, sorry. Okay, I lost my place in my rant. Okay, you see, Chef R doesn't even work at Exclusive Hotel anymore, but knowing that M knew who he was and that she probably didn't want anything to do with him, he decided to conceal that fact by 1, never giving me a last name, and 2, falsifying his workplace. Now, right off the bat, just no. Like, the whole situation is just one big no. I'm not going to make my poor baker waste her time and energy on making something for this chump. And seeing as how it was for a client, you'd think he's going to give credit where it's due. Probably, only with strings attached, I'm sure. Now, as disgusting as his behavior is, remember, this story is about a cake. Remember how I said that he didn't pay, but we usually give a little leeway? Yeah, fuck that. I immediately got screenshots of everything, confirmed that he doesn't work there, and simply told him on Monday afternoon that his order was canceled due to non-payment. When I tell you that I have never had someone pay so fast, I mean it. Like, I went to the bank and came back with 4 texts, 2 phone calls, 2 voicemails, and full payment. He might be fast, but my boss was even faster. Because the second her phone notified her of payment, she refunded it right then and there. Fullback, refunded it the fullback. I think she means right there. Side note, if you ever get a chance to say, as per your agreement to our written policy, do it. It feels so damn good. Cue more panicked calls, and 5 of us in the bakery just watching the phone ring, listening to the voicemails, reading the text messages about how it's so not cool to just cancel and give him no leeway. I spent the time enjoying myself, imagining him squirming and panicking as he tries to find someone who's going to make him a custom cake with less than 5 days' notice. After a solid 10 minutes of trying to reach me, he finally goes quiet, so I reply with, I am sincerely trying to keep this professional per my colleagues' wishes. I'd suggest you drop the issue. If you really want to try your luck, I will happily discuss with you how a few recent personal decisions on your part contributed to the clusterfuck you are currently in. Guess that wasn't the answer he was looking for. Sorry, that was so satisfying. That was one of the more satisfying ones I think we've had today. Okay. Invalidate my illness? Enjoy spam. Sorry, my fat ass went to, like, the food spam in the can. I know they're talking about, like, email spam. So my dad is not the greatest with mental health, which is bad because I'm great at having terrible mental health. Hey, same here. My dad is terrible at understanding. I am terrible at having it. He doesn't get it often and says the wrong thing. This is one of those times. If you've seen my post history, you know that there's a lot of crap going on. So again, always remember their usernames are in there. Just find it. Specifically really bad depression and anxiety, as well as chronic headaches, stomach pain, brain surgery 2 years ago, etc. It's whatever. I've had most of them for like 10 years or so I'm used to it. Same. You would think that my dad would be used to it too, but no. He once told me to cheer up if that tells you anything about his mindset. Anyway, I made the joke about no one wanting to steal my identity because of all the crap I've gone through. He looked me straight in the eye and says, I know it seems like a lot to you, but it's really not that much. Other people have it worse. That is one of the most invalidating things you can say to somebody with mental health or just any issues. Like, that is literally one of the most, like, unhelpful and just destructive things you can say to somebody. And if you've struggled with anything, you know that is a horrible thing to say. So, naturally, I said something sarcastic to him and walked away. If that was the end of it, I could have let it go. Not the first time this has happened, definitely not going to be the last. But then, when my mom told him how much it hurt me, he insisted I should be apologizing to him for being rude and implied that I was faking my problems. That pissed me off. Revenge. He hates spam mail. So naturally, that was what I would use. I signed him up for every kind of text message service imaginable, putting special emphasis on ones with Bible verses because, let's be honest, he needs Jesus. Now, he gets offers and positive messages / Bible verses all day long. I wish I could do more, but I'm terrified of getting in trouble. Now, before I get comments saying to go no contact and get out of there, I can't. I am financially and emotionally dependent on both of my parents and have had a few bad experiences with one of them is not enough to make me drop the love I have for them. I want a relationship with both of them, which is valid. That's okay. That is your choice. And if that is something you want to do, you go for it. It's, that happens. Shit happens like that. Try and put this down again without smashing it, because that's bad for the head. I mean, I've got no words for you. I think it's great. It's one of those things, nobody really gets hurt. Those people are going to be sending out those spam text messages anyway. They just added another person to their fucking list. And honestly, I think it's kind of funny. So maybe I should do that sometime. I don't know to who, because I don't really have problems with anybody right now. Maybe I'll remember it next time I do have problems with somebody. Okay. Called my boss called my boss and tried to get me fired for leaving a door open. Don't worry, it'll never happen again. This one sounds pretty good. This one is also quite long, so we're sitting at almost 37 minutes. We'll see where we are after the story. Let me give a little background here. I originally posted this in malicious compliance, but apparently it wasn't malicious enough. I might have to look up that group. Certainly contains some petty revenge on my part, so I'm going to try it here. Just to clarify, the building this happened in was not a government agency or somewhere that they had classified info. It was a lawyer's office that they locked down tight after one of their employees was attacked, so they couldn't get sued if it happened again. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that that's okay. I guess keep that in the back of your mind for the rest of the video, or for the rest of the story. Back in the 90s, I was an irrigation tech working in downtown DC. One of my jobs was an office building directly across from the FBI HQ on Penn Ave. Not only was traffic terrible and parking non-existent, it was a highly secure building, by which I mean that every door and it was locked and required a badge. A few years prior, a paralegal working on a Saturday was... Trigger warning. Just trigger warning. I don't know where else this is going. But sexual assault, trigger warning. A paralegal working on Saturday was raped and beaten by a perp who had walked in off the street. So every door and stairwell in the building had badge-operated locked doors. I'm just going to put this in here. Nothing to do with the story, but that is a good way to handle when something like that happens. I'm just saying. You had to call a security guard to be escorted anywhere inside. On the 11th floor, where most of the executive offices were located, it was surrounded by a mezzanine with some fancy landscaping, and there was an irrigation to water it. Ooh. Sorry. You accessed it through a locked window door in one of the offices. Is it a window? Sorry. Probably only a very small amount of people will understand that joke. Now this will be important later. The controls for the irrigation were locked inside the stairwell. So when I had work scheduled there, I once finally found, a place to park. I would try to load up every single tool and part I needed so I didn't have to make trips up and down. You could ring security in the parking garage and the guard would come down and escort you up the elevator. That was the only way you were allowed access. When you worked on the irrigation, you had to access the controls to be able to turn it on and off to test it. So to do so, I had to walk back through the office to the stairwell where the controller was mounted. But the stairwell door would lock behind you, and to get back to the mezzanine, you had to take the stairs to the garage level and call for the guard to bring you back up to the elevator. That sounds really fucking annoying. So even though it was against protocol, I would usually wedge something in the door to keep it open. That would reduce the amount of times I had to go up and down with the guard, which was good because he always acted annoyed by doing it. Edit. At the time I caught blocking the door, I didn't explain it very well. It should have been more like, I now know it's not protocol rather than I knew it wasn't protocol then. I sort of screwed up by trying to express what I was thinking. Yep, you caught me already trying to justify what I did. My bad. Thank you for the Redditor that pointed that out to me. I knew it wasn't protocol, but it wasn't like anyone off the street would be able to get into the offices. To even get into the stairwell from the garage, you had to have a badge to open the door. So I wasn't really putting anyone in danger. We'll see. Well, one day I had the door wedged open so I could go back and forth to the controller, and the guard saw it. He yelled at me about leaving it open and told me it always had to be locked. It was cool. I was cool with that, but then he must have told his boss about it. The management company called my boss and complained. They threatened to pull the contract, and I got my ass chewed up and down the next day. If it happened again, I might even be fired. On my next service call after parking the truck, I grabbed my bucket with some tools in it and called for the guard. Sorry. I'm trying to get something to rest it on. On my next service call after parking the truck, I grabbed my bucket with some tools in it and called for the guard, and I got escorted to the 11th floor. I waited about 5 minutes, then walked down the stairwell to the garage to grab parts, then called for the escort back up. I waited about 5 more minutes. Then I took the stairwell to the garage and got even more parts, then called for the escort back up. You can see where this is going. So after multiple trips up and down, I finally had all the parts I needed and did the work. The guard was already getting pretty annoyed, but hey, what can he say? I'm following protocol. Then I got to the part where I was going into the stairwell to test the system with the controller and reset the program. Every time I accessed the controller, the stairwell door would lock behind me, and I would take the stairs to the garage and call that same guard again for the escort back upstairs. For those of you wondering why the guard didn't just open the stairwell door for me, it was because in order for me to contact him, I had to go back down to the garage level and use the phone there. No cell phones back in those days. Remember, this was back in the 90s. And he had other places he needed to be and couldn't just stand there and watch me while I was working. I could tell the guard was getting really pissed now, but he didn't dare say a word because he was the one that complained originally about me leaving the stairwell door open. But then again, he always acted annoyed with me. So, what the? The shittier the look on his face got, the bigger the shit-eating grin I got on mine. He knew by then that I was likely doing it on purpose, but there wasn't anything he could do about it. I knew it was my mistake to begin with, but he shouldn't have been such a jerk and tried to get me fired. More info. Some people were quick to point out that the guard was just doing his job and I screwed him. You might be right, but in my defense, not only was I never told I couldn't block the door open or give a rundown on security protocols, that same guard always had an attitude with me when he had to come escort me up and down. Guess that was some important info. TLDR. I left the door unlocked in a secure building and the guard tried to get me fired. I made sure during my next visit that I let every door lock per protocol every single time, and it meant that the guard spent the whole day running back and forth, unlocking doors, and escorting me around the building. I mean, you did what you were supposed to do, and it's like, what else were you supposed to do? Like, I would be that kind of person as well, in kind of a manner, I'm not gonna lie, like, okay, I can't do that, fine, I won't do it, and that just means that it's more work for you. I was trying to be nice, make things easier for you, you didn't want it that way, so I guess here we are. Like, what else are you gonna do about it? What can you do about that situation? Alright, we're sitting at about 45 minutes, I think we've got time for possibly one more. I think the one after it might be a little too long. We'll see. We'll see. Worst comes to worst, I'll end this one or end this recording that I've got because I can only record for up to an hour at a time. But then I can start up another one right after it. We'll see. Don't assume others don't speak Spanish. Honestly, in this day and age, you should never assume that somebody, just because of how they look, they don't speak a certain language. In all fairness, think about all the ways that we have to be able to learn another language. How easy and how cheap it is now. Never assume anything about anybody. So, I'm a bridal stylist. I help people find their wedding gowns. I love my job. And 99% of the time, it's a happy, wonderful job with great coworkers and customers. Ugh. I love jobs like that. And then there's the 1%. I had a bride today who was very sweet, but just didn't connect with the gowns we had. That's okay. It happens sometimes. She was fine, but her mom, and somehow it's always the mom or the aunt, was decidedly not happy. Was decidedly not happy and decided to shit-talk me in Spanish the whole time. Does this woman knows what she's doing? She's pulling nothing but ugly gowns. Said gowns were selected by the bride. I don't think people realize that when you go wedding dress shopping. They just show you the gowns. You're the ones that say yes or no before trying them on. So it's not like,
oh, here, do this one, and then do this one, and then do this one. No, they go, okay, what do you like? Okay, these are the ones that I think will match the description you gave me. And then you say, oh, no, I don't like that, or yes, I want to try it on. They don't force you to try on anything. I hope you don't ever get as fat as her, and so on. Why is that always the insult people go to? Oh, well, she's fat. Be like, bitch, do you think us fat people don't own mirrors? We know we're fat. That's not a surprise to us. That's not an insult to us. That's you pointing out the fucking obvious, like, congrats, your eyes work. What else do you want us to say to that? Now, I am whiter than a jar of mayo. Same. And I don't necessarily look like I speak Spanish. However, my parents are from a Spanish-speaking country, even though they're not ethnically Hispanic. I knew a lot more as a kid, but I still know enough to get around. So I waited until the end, and as they were leaving, I said, I hope you have a great day. Please feel free to come back anytime you'd like. We have lots more gowns that you can go through if you'd like. In Spanish. To the bride and her mom. And oh man, you know how good it feels when you're in a fuck ton of pain and the doctor finally gives you something that works and you're suddenly not feeling any pain anymore? Yes. Or when you're craving the hell out of a specific flavor of ice cream and you manage to find it? Also, yes. Yeah, seeing the look on that bride's mom's face when she realized I heard and understood the entire hour of her ripping me to shreds was so much better. Oh, God. Yeah, that's always a fantastic feeling. I mean, I was in labor for almost a 24 full hours, so most of my pain was in my back. I didn't have, like, crazy bad contractions, but my back hurt really bad from the bed, so once you get that pain medicine and it finally, like, that pain goes away, you're just like, oh, finally. Okay, I think we've got enough time for this one, so I'm gonna risk it for a biscuit and read this one. She tried to extort a baby from me, but ended up helping me keep the baby. This happened way, way back. My daughter is 30 now. When I was 18 in my first year of college, I got pregnant. The father joined the Navy to escape responsibility. My parents, who are strict conservatives, except when it's inconvenient, abandoned me and cut me off financially. They wanted me to have an abortion to prevent the loss of my scholarship. That's how I found myself at 18, suddenly and totally responsible for myself and my living situation with no financial or emotional support from anyone. I lived at a private dorm and was befriended by the property manager, Donna. When I told her my situation, she swooped in like a hero and helped me get a place to stay at one of the other properties she managed. I was getting evicted from the dorm. She then helped me get a job at a gift shop at one of those properties. I thought she was the most wonderful person for all of this until her true motives became clear. She wanted to adopt my baby, even though I had expressed no interest in giving my baby up for adoption. After a few weeks of work, she launched a campaign to convince me I was unfit to be a mother and that my baby would be so much better off if I let Donna have it. At first, it was subtle, passive-aggressive remarks about how much money she and her husband had, how she couldn't have children herself, how she hoped she was able to adopt one day, and what a wonderful life they would give their baby. But as time passed, her approach became more aggressive and direct. She was always around the shop and would even come to my apartment ready to point out things I did or didn't do that proved what a terrible mother I would be. She went into a long rant about how awful I was for having a baby without a father. How we'd be welfare trash forever. How God, I hate it when people bring God into this, brought her into my life because she was meant to have my baby. It was endless and constant for months. Sometimes I let her comments upset me and make me wonder if she was right. But in my heart, I knew that I would be a good mother. For a while, and feeling intimidated, I let myself be bullied into including her in baby-related events. I even let her go with me to the sonogram where I found out my baby was a girl. She was so excited, for me, As I got closer to delivering, I got stronger in making it clear to Donna that I was not giving up my baby. I tried to avoid Donna as much as I could, but was regularly reminded how much power she had over my living situation. I soon had coworkers telling me she was claiming that my baby's adoption was a done deal. She even told people she was decorating a nursery and buying baby girl clothes. Bitch, that sounds like a you problem. Donna, not the OP. When it became clear that she was not going to change my mind, she started threatening me with eviction from my apartment and firing me from my job. That way, I'd realize how unstable my situation was and recognize I had no business having a baby. And sure enough, I lost my job. She fired me for not wearing my shoes behind the cashier's counter at the gift shop. When I was on my feet all day, my feet would swell right out of my shoes. I stayed behind the counter and slip off my shoes for a bit, but never in view of the customers. Still, that was reason enough in Donna's mind to teach me a lesson. It didn't take long after losing my job to also lose my apartment. I ended up couch surfing and even spent some time sometimes homeless until I got some housing assistance. In the meantime, I'd gone to the EEOC and complained. I personally have no idea what that is, so if you guys do, that's fantastic. You can feel free to leave a message and tell me what it is. I do not know what that means. And they helped me mediate with the owners of the gift shop property. As a result, Donna got fired from managing that property, and I got months of back pay and some extra money for my trouble in exchange for not full out suing them. This small cash windfall turned out to be a huge blessing that actually enabled me to survive financially until I had my baby and could get back in school. Donna firing me was the best thing that could have ever happened. I saw her years later and she was still childless. Best revenge. My daughter is now getting ready to graduate, full scholarship, and magna cum laude from a top law school. Turns out being raised by a single mom is not as awful as Donna thought. I think that was a really good one to leave off on, and I'm glad that we went ahead and read through that longer one. I don't really have much of an opinion on that one. I love hearing the end of stories like that. It had all the update to it. Like, it was all just one story, and that was fantastic. Thanks everyone for listening today. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. If you know someone who likes my content, feel free to send me their way in a share. If you would like to send me a message with your own story, rant, question, unpopular opinion, or do you want me to tell others how you fucked up today? Or any day. Send me a message via any of my social media found in the description. Just look for my cute little avatar you see on whatever app you're listening on. Please, give a rating if you enjoyed what you heard today. I hear that they help out tremendously. And as always, I will catch y'all next time. Bye! Bam. So, it's still kind of weird being back and doing this. Especially since when I started doing this, I was still working a part-time job, which I have quit doing to come back and do this kind of full-time. But honestly, I think I just needed a break from jobs in general. It was kind of one of those things. I only had the jobs just to have something to do during the day, and it was just tearing me down mentally. So to be back doing this, I'm really happy to be back. I'm really happy to have the interaction with you guys that I get from you. And yeah, I'm just really thankful for the position that I am able to be in today. But anyway, I will not keep you guys any longer. I will see you guys next time. If you're watching on TikTok, I will see you guys Thursday. If you're watching this via YouTube, if you follow me on TikTok, you will be able to watch this live. And yeah, so I will see you guys next time. All right, bye.